So in this episode, we're going to go over everything of what not to do. So let's get into it.
Welcome to the show, EventMASTERs. You need to listen to this if you want to throw bigger and better events. Learn how to monetize and land bigger acts. Yeah, this is where you can learn how to do that. EventMASTERs.
That intro just gets me hype. What's up, Patrick? So first and foremost, I want to welcome you to the first ever episode of Event Masters. I am one of the co-hosts, Dylan. Alongside of me is Patrick VanDusen, and we are excited. How are you today, sir?
Good. I'm excited to kick this off. It's been in the making. Last week we were talking about launching this, and we had a slight name change. But hey, everyone, welcome to the first episode.
Yeah, I'm excited to get this off and running. And for those of you who know both of us or know anything about what we do, this has been something we've wanted to, like you said, do for the longest time. And now we're here, and we won't disrespect you guys' time and ramble. And this show's not going to be a lot of fluff. The idea of this show is to get you the ideas, the tactics, the tips, the strategies, and the stories to help you guys become event masters is the whole goal. And you'll see some more projects with us coming out later this year. We kind of alluded to it on the last live stream we did, but some things to help you guys become event masters even more so. So let's just get into it. Like I said, right before the epic intro, hopefully you guys like that. Let me know what you guys think of it for you live viewers. But like I said, right before that intro, in this episode, what we want to kind of go over is some of the top common mistakes that we've seen in this industry over the last at least 12 months, but I've seen and Patrick has seen way prior to COVID. A lot of these mistakes are just got amplified in this kind of this pandemic world. So I'm excited to bring some of that, and I'm just going to kind of kick it off here and start with one of the biggest things I think I've seen, especially when it comes to virtual and moving into this hybrid event environment, is not fully underestimating what it takes to actually put these things on, and almost flat out disrespecting what it takes to put these on. And we've seen time and time again, organizers go underestimate everything that's going on, and then they're scrambling last minute, and then nothing ever good happens when you have to scramble last minute. So let's just touch on that real quick and where we see that breakdown happening. We've seen it a lot, Patrick. We talk about it a lot behind the scenes, and it's like, how do we get these organizers to take it more serious? And I don't know what it is. I don't know if you have an answer or not, but it's like this shift when it's in-person events or virtual. People often just underestimate what it takes to put on the virtual component. They don't emphasize it enough, and then it leads into more problems, which we'll definitely get into. So I just want to hear quickly your take on that particular topic of underestimating really what it does take to put some of these on.
Yeah, Dylan, you're completely right. Even before COVID, both of us have been in the event space for years now. And I know you added the virtual component and underestimating that part, but it's an event in general. And after watching so many events happen that I've personally gone to, that my friends have done and hosted, all the way to all the events we've ever done on ViewStub, it's what is the biggest issue? And that really comes down to like not thinking about the whole picture and giving yourself enough time to hold this event. We were talking about this. We were like, what's the first topic of the show? And it's like, let's just start with the biggest issue that we see, and this is the top one. So.
Oh, it's by far, and like you said, it's not just a virtual issue. It's not just folks who are coming in this virtual world and waiting to the last possible minute to even plan, let alone market. But trust me, I've seen it even in the pre-pandemic live event space. People waiting a month, 2 weeks before their event to start planning it and promoting it. And I think that's where the biggest breakdown is, because I tell folks all the time, I can plan an event in a couple days. That's not the hard part. It's getting it out to all the people in a timely fashion that I need the run up for. I can plan an event literally in a day, 2 days. That's not the hard part. It's making sure that I get my message out there to get people to come. I don't do events to have no one to come. So, and I know no one else.
That's the second part. And if you're watching this, I would personally love to hear it, Darren. I know you would want to hear put in the comments what you think why people delay so long on launching and promoting their event. I want to hear from you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, definitely. I would love to hear some folks and organizers' opinion on that, because it's becoming more and more, and I think people need to understand they need to respect the planning process and the logistics process and the marketing process and the promotion process, just like they would an in-person event. It's really no different. The planning process of it for every logistic that you don't have in an in-person event compared to virtual or vice versa, it's replaced with some sort of logistic you have to figure out, right?
Mm-hmm.
You
The
is now,
logistics don't go away; they just change.
yeah, they're just
They
different,
just change.
right? Venues are, finding sourcing venues is now sourcing a platform, right? And sourcing catering is like kind of like sourcing now full production AV management teams, and we still, the production factors, they're winning in all of this process because now they're at our live events and virtual. But every logistic is just kind of remapped out or replaced with something new, and I think people are underestimating that. And then by doing that, when they take too long to plan it and start planning it, it goes into the biggest issues where we see the biggest results in setting up events for failure is on the promotion side and the marketing side, right? It's if you don't give yourself enough time to sell tickets, how do you plan to sell tickets?
Oh yes, yeah. If that's your goal, yeah, if that's your goal, even if it's some kind of different event like a private brand activation, you still have to build awareness around it. You still have to let people know. If you don't let people know, how are they even gonna like? What you just think that they fall into the seat, or they fall in and turn on their TV or their webcam and then they just join? It's like they just magically appear.
Are
I
you
don't
are
know.
you telling me if I just do an event, people just don't show up? Like if I host it, people don't just come?
You guys would be surprised how many people, and these are great events, but how many people just, hey, I'm doing this amazing event, awesome speakers, awesome content, and they're like, yep, I'm going to post it, going to go live, tickets are live, page is live. All right, people are just going to show up. That's probably one of the worst things you could think about when doing the event. And kind of come
single
back to
post
it.
on Facebook.
Yeah, one post on Facebook too. But even you guys thinking about like even companies like ours at ViewStub, we make it so easy for you to get set up in less than 30 minutes, but you still can't rely on that. You still have to learn the software, and that's not just if you use a company like we work at or if you use a different company. It doesn't change as just because the software is easy, just because you're working with great team members that can knock a lot of work out and make things happen on your execution plan, doesn't mean you still wait 2 weeks to launch your event. It doesn't mean you say, oh, I could just, set up my advertising next week. No, cannot have that mindset.
We've even seen it, like it doesn't matter the level of event either. Like it doesn't matter the level of the artist. We've seen big name artists try and pull this same exact mistake and they flop. We've seen little artists who don't make these mistakes promote like crazy, give themselves 30, 60 days of promotion time, and they crush it. And so it's not about your brand or anything. It doesn't matter how big you are. Because I know folks who can sell out arenas in a month and they're good. I know folks who can never sell out a 12-person boardroom. And it all comes down to they don't give themselves that proper runway. And another kind of segue, but the same kind of issue here is with the not taking it serious and disrespecting a lot of what it takes. I've often, and this is kind of be a segue, kind of what we were just chatted about. However, I don't know if you see this as much as I do, but the lack of excitement when it comes to the promotion, when they're talking about their hybrid or virtual events, compared to what they used to be. They're at least, this event's the best thing since sliced bread. And then now we have to pivot to virtual. None of us, truly, I'm an event organizer, guys. I don't want to be pivoting fully virtual. It's not why I got in this space. I get it. However, when it goes to promoting those events and making them success, I treat them and respect them as much as I do my live in-person events. And I promote them in a way, because if you're not excited about this thing, how do you expect other people to? You can put out all the promotion in the world, but if that promotion is then lackluster, it doesn't involve any excitement, and we can tell as attendees that you're not excited about this event, we're not going to be. So you could have the world's best promotion, but that's another flaw that I think I've seen in the forms of not respecting it enough. Just the flat out, just no excitement, and people, you can be the best salesman in the world, but if you're not excited about the product, you can't sell it. flat
Yeah,
out.
I mean, let's just quickly break it down on the timeline, right? Because I would say
Yeah.
generally 90 days from your event is a good time frame. I've seen a lot of successful events start 6 to 8 months out, and
Mhm.
those events usually are the ones that best do it. And there's different tactics to do it from 6 months out to 90 days out, like when you start getting to that closer period. But you got to think of it of even if you're working with an artist and that artist has 1 million followers on their social media, people who are willing to blow any kind of money or do anything to join your event or drive to your event, you still can't start 3 4 weeks before your event. People, if they're going to come to your event, they still have to make sure they can get off work if they are working, work it out with their partner if they want to come, any kind of those logistics. And it's not any different for virtual. People still need to kind of figure out like, okay, am I going to sit at home? Do I want to watch it live? Do I want to watch the replays? How can I watch it? These are things that are going on in people's heads, and you have to think like, if you start advertising it only a few weeks out, they're gonna see it. Okay, John is having his event, right? Okay, yeah, but they're going about their day, and then they may see it 3 days later, right? Okay, I saw it again. John's having an event, right? Okay, but now you're already 1 week in. If you started like only a couple weeks out, you already wasted 1 week on just getting that thought into John's head that you're even doing anything
Yep.
before he may even bat an eye of what the details are. And then by the time he sees it a third time, maybe 10 14 days out, and he's now even just considering clicking on your site to look at the details of what the time is and who's going to be performing or talking about what. And then before you know it, it's 5 days out, and he's thinking like, okay, well, I already had this other arrangement, and all because John, didn't know about the event. Like
Yeah.
he found out about so late in the game to plan around his life. People, usually do plan around events if they're very passionate, but usually they do have lives, guys. So
Yeah, you got to be able to respect people's lives and respect the time it takes for them. Like you said, it's going to take a couple posts, couple awareness visuals and ads or whatever you're doing. It's going to take a couple of those to warm someone up to even buy a ticket, unless your brand is that big and that deep. Even still, it's going to take a couple times. So that's a point I don't want to miss. We're right now talking about marketing timeline. That means you have to then also start planning before this. And we're seeing people try to do both. It's the wickedest thing of people are trying to like plan their event and market it all within like a month of their time. And there's a lot of ideas and concepts around marketing virtual events compared to in person. Less lead time, I think, in the virtual world than it is in person. However, you still need to respect someone's time and make sure that they can put it into their calendar if you want them to show up live, right? If you want them to show up live, they have to set time in their schedule. They have to make sure that their kid is in another room locked away. And their dog's not here, and they're not ordering DoorDash during
work
session.
done for the day.
So you need to make sure you're respecting that, which means starts back in you're respecting how long and of a runway you give them to know it's even coming. So it's amazing.
You can't get mad at John for not knowing, for you starting your marketing 2 3 weeks out. You can't be mad at John that he didn't come to your event, even if it's free. Even if it's free, John wants to participate in your event. You can't be mad at him that he just found out about it. That's on you as an event organizer.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Say that again. I wish I had one of those buttons here. It just says it's on you as the organizer. So yeah, no, I think that's 100%. And I don't want to beat a dead horse to death, but I think it's flat out one of the biggest mistakes we've seen as in the industry as a whole. But really over the last 12 months or however long this pandemic has been in the virtual world, and people just disrespecting really what it takes to put these on. All the logistics are going to be replaced with some sort of new logistic or added to it. If you're doing hybrid, you're doing now 2 different kind of events in one, and you have to understand how to do that. And then proper planning leads to proper promotion time, which then creates a better success. So if you can plan properly, and then you leave yourself enough promotion time, then you're going to set yourself up for better success. I would say, just flat out. I think that's right there is the carrot on the top. Carrot.
I mean, Dylan, let's just give everyone timelines that we've seen from events that we've done, events that we've seen done really well. I mean, I'm thinking, around like 9 months out of your event, you should be figuring out, your basic event details, any kind of software, any kind of venues you're looking at. Like you should, honestly, in my personal opinion, events I've seen do really well, whether it's free or paid publicly. It's around 6 months of having just about everything set up. And even if you don't have every little thing set up, maybe you're still trying to figure out your ticket price or you're still trying to figure out your venue. You can still start building awareness. And then, of course, you're going to have to juggle starting to do the awareness and promotion just to let people know you're doing an event. And then also the details of maybe you're trying to choose between two venues or you're trying to choose your ticket price or how many live sessions you should do. You can still start building awareness. That's something I see all the time. And how many times, Dylan, do we tell everyone on the sales team and everyone that come on the success team here at ViewStub, we tell people like, okay, you don't know every detail, but you have enough to at least start letting people know that you're having an event. Trust me, it's going to make your life easier because when you are finalized, then you could switch over all your efforts pretty much into marketing and promoting it. And then it makes the attendance rate go up so much better. So
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, and I've leveraged that at the same time where I'm in that planning process, but at least I'm getting the word out. But at least then I can also start to gather feedback that helps me plan the rest of this event. Because I never once think that I know what my attendees want or anything. So if I give myself enough time, I can then in turn use that kind of that soft promotion where I'm like, hey guys, I'm doing an event in a year. It could be a year. Like I did this with with a couple concerts I've done. It's, hey, I'm doing something like next year. I'm looking at ideas. What do you guys think I should do? And use that time to kind of gather feedback while you plan. And then you can kind of plan accordingly to that feedback. And we'll talk I have a whole conversation on that.
And let's just go into it real quick, just for like 2 minutes, because I think feedback is one of the most important things. Because if you leave yourself enough time, then maybe you set your ticket price at X amount, and just because you launched a month earlier, you can figure out in like 7 to 10 days, people are saying, hey, look, your ticket price is no. No, can't do it. But guess what? Then it gives you time to switch it. You can't do that when you have no time. So,
right. And then you're stuck scrambling.
Some of the stuff you've seen, Dylan. I'd love to hear on the feedback loop and around that just real quick.
No, I mean, I like we use it here at ViewStub. I use it as events, I always want to know what my attendees want and things like that. I think every organizer, and I do have it on my like topic list of this show to do a whole rundown because I don't think people respect their attendees enough and respect what they want. But but going out to Patrick's comment around 9 to 6 months, I think, obviously it varies on the size of your event. We have folks and we know people who are doing 25, 50, 100,000 person events. Those need to be a year out. They're planning some of these mega festivals a year, 2 years out. Now, most of you running this, watching this show and things like that, I'm thinking 6, 8, 9 months. 9 months would be giving you at 9 months. You need to know your five. How I describe as your 5 W's. You need to know the why, the who, the what, the where, and the when. And you need to start establishing those out about 9 months in advance, and then that gives you a couple months to get the few, because you only need a couple things to really promote an event. This is what people don't understand. You only need a couple things. You need really a city. You need to know. You need to be able to tell someone where they're going, or if it's virtual, that's even better because they don't have to go anywhere. Yeah. And then you need a date, so you need the where and the when. You don't need a venue yet. You just really need a place where they're going to go and a date, and you can start soft promoting this event 9 months out, and then gather that feedback. Say, hey, ticket sales are going on. Start promoting early bird sales, things like that. There's a lot of tactics.
Too.
Yeah, and start gathering those RSVP lists that you can then in turn, when ticket sales are live, you send out one email and you explode on day one sales. There's reasons to this that if you guys understand why we're saying this, you'll see the success of it, right? There's a reason we're saying start a little bit out, give yourself the proper planning time, because that's the big, I'm telling you guys, I don't want to sit here and tell you should do this kind of event with this kind of lighting or this, because it's all going to be different. But what I do know is that everyone who waits to the last minute to plan their event and market their event does not do that well.
Let's hey, Dylan, I don't mean to sideswipe this, the conversation real quick. I just saw a comment that said that people are getting burnt out on screen time, right?
Sure.
People are getting screen burnout. Strategy has to change. Yes, of course. That's one thing that we see is a lot of people They do, their main sessions, and only people can engage. It pretty much on whatever platform you can do. This is what's really cool about doing that time frame, a larger time frame on promoting it and building awareness. Is it goes back to Dylan made a good point, the feedback of you can start saying, hey guys, my date, the when and where is, you can let them know that, and then you can actually have them pitch in and feel like they're part of the event. Like, hey guys, we're gonna have 3 types of networking sessions. What would be best for you to join? What would get you more engaged? What would bring more value? And just because you put in that bigger time frame, you can now gather feedback and then finalize the details. And then what does that do? It gets more people engaged, gets more people talking about it, gets more people thinking about it. And then overall, it just builds the momentum of the event. So going back into the screen burnout, you just have to get creative. And the best way to get creative is to get feedback and let your attendees be a part of it pretty much. And I think this whole thing with the time frame kind of all ropes into it.
Yeah, because I think what it also does is, and this is something that I have also written down on a topic for another show, but if you give yourself that more time and start understanding how to use the feedback loop, you can also start to develop that community, which will live a lot longer than any one event. And that's what and once you guys hear kind of how I roll with that and my philosophy on that, you'll see why it's a much bigger thing. Like me giving enough time, how can I get as many people into my ecosystem in my community, and then use that community to develop my event, which is for the community. And it's helped so much more. And I think, just setting yourself up for better success will obviously set yourself up for better success. So that's where I want to pivot this a little bit. And it's funny because it's the 2 biggest mistakes are actually almost contradictions to themselves. So we just rattled off for the last 14 or 15 minutes why people are underestimating a lot of the process. They're flat out in some cases disrespecting the process of what it takes to put on events. Now, at the same time they're underestimating it, they're overcomplicating it, especially virtual, because technology is not, we all know what technology does. The biggest tech companies have issues, and things are going to happen on day ofs, and you can't control them and everything. And
just
then
like in person, just like virtual. Things are going to go wrong.
There's no such thing as perfect planning. I'll tell you that now. You will like, I got stories that you'll hear. Yeah,
go wrong.
It probably will. It's an event. I'll tell you that right out. There's no such thing as perfect planning. It will go wrong. Something will. You'll have to solve that problem. So what I personally have done well over the years in my events and things like that is I do this in business. I do this in my life. I do this with relationships. I do it with everything. This keep it simple, stupid method will make you a lot of money, and will create a lot of success for you. Because I see a lot of the overcomplication. Me and you have been to virtual events this year. We've been to in-person events, and they're just flat out trying to do too much. And I don't know if it comes from an overcompensation of because I have clients who can just do a flat out video only content driven event, and people show up in groves because the content's there. But then I see other events, they have which I'm all for attendee engagement. How can we get attendees to engage with each other, things like that. But when you start throwing on 4 different platforms together, none of the technologies talk to each other. I have to have 4 different logins to do some of these events. And then, or at the in-person event, I don't know what I'm doing. The flow is crazy. There's 200 breakout rooms that I have to choose to. And it's just the overcomplicating of events is going to be someone's biggest downfall, because then if you're overcomplicating it and you're on top of it, you're waiting to the last minute to plan it. What do you think is going to happen? There's need to have, if you give yourself more time, you can plan more things. So if you do have a habit to overcomplicate things, it goes back to our first point of just give yourself more time. But I think, and then I'll before I have to stop rambling because I can go all day on this topic. I've always said for years that simple is sexy when it comes to events. And if you can learn to dominate, keep it simple, stupid, simple is sexy, and understand that if you can dominate the simple aspects of an event, and those change per event, all different events, some events are more network driven, more content driven, understanding your event in particular and understanding how to simply execute that objective will be everything, like because it conveys back to your marketing. It's simpler to talk about it if you don't have 42 things to talk about. If I don't have to figure out how to get into 42 different breakout rooms, and there's better management going on. I think overcomplication, and let me know what your thoughts are, Patrick, is a big
it
thing.
ties back to the feedback loop, right? Because overcomplication, Dylan's completely right, guys. We love the passion, we love the energy when we work with all of you guys and whoever, and we love it. We're like, yes, 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 but at the same time we also see that, like, okay, you're kind of going a little over the top, and it kind of goes back to the time frame of give yourself maybe that feedback loop, because a lot of times we see when people overcomplicate things, the event organizer or the producer is thinking all these attendees want all these breakout sessions and this type of content. We need to fill in these 10 more speakers and yada 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 yada, and they make these assumptions, right? And it goes back to the time frame. Do some content. Hey guys, I'm looking at having this event, in 10 months, 9 months, and I just have a list of breakout sessions, or I have this list of performers that I'm looking at doing. What do you guys think, right? And then you're going to probably narrow that down. You're going to have people vote and just say maybe 3 out of those 10 things. And then look, you don't have to worry about the other couple that people didn't vote for, that people didn't want. And then now you can focus on the ones that people do want and simplify it and make your life a lot easier and make the whole thing a win-win for everyone. So
I mean, you hit the nail on the head with it's usually the event organizers planning events for themselves or taking massive assumptions.
That's one of the other biggest mistakes too.
Yeah,
Top five.
For sure. We could almost probably do a whole show on that one, but I won't talk. I won't use this show as my vehicle to talk about too much bad about other event organizers. But I do because I could, but I won't. However, I do think this is a big problem of overcomplicating, and because, like you said, it's overcomplicating. It comes directly from not understanding your attendees. Usually, people think they need all of this extra stuff on their event. When then, if you just polled your attendee, they'd be like, I don't really care about this exhibitor hall. Like, I'm not that interested in getting sold by all these different sponsors, and I get sold enough by all your speakers. I don't want to get sold by more sponsors, and I'm not going to use it. But then we have organizers like scrambling to make this the world's best virtual exhibitor hall or in-person exhibitor hall and things like that. And I'm like, have you ever even asked your attendees to if they wanted to have that, or if it's valuable, or if that's why they're buying the ticket? Like, understand, you got to figure out what's buying their ticket. So I think both of these processes, underestimating the process and overcomplicating it, come right back to this feedback loop, which I think will be a theme in this show.
I actually just wrote it down as a note. I'm thinking we do a whole show on just like a good way to do like feedback and a good time frame.
Yeah.
I'm noticing a trend right now. I already knew it, but it naturally went that way.
Yeah, it's we will definitely circle back on that topic. And but yeah, I mean, it's from the underestimation of the process to the overcomplicating it at the same time, I think are the two flat out biggest mistakes that people are almost doing in tandem, which they pull from opposite extremes, but then people are doing them in tandem, which is then setting up an unsuccessful event. And like the show name says, we want to help you guys become masters of events, how to produce better events, how to plan better events, how to market bigger, like the theme song says, how to monetize these better, how to get bigger acts, how to market and monetize and get this, more awareness out. And it all starts with, not underestimating it. Like, events are not easy. Live events, in-person events are not easy. Virtual events, I would probably say, are a smidge more challenging in some areas than in-person events because we're so used to in-person. So
logistics is the good thing about people or about the marketplace right now is more people are aware of how to attend a virtual event. It is getting a little bit easier, but it still is a lot of work because of the logistics of virtual. There's different logistics.
Yeah. So let's end the show on this one last big mistake that I think me and you can agree on heavily. And then we'll wrap the show up and go into the Q&A for our community here. The lack of communication with telling people and educating folks on this, because especially it being new, but the communication breakdown of just, thinking someone's going to buy a ticket and then you don't have to tell them anything anymore. And then you can just go sell more tickets, but then not tell your current attendees what to do, where to be, and things like that. That breakdown in communication, I think on our platform alone has led to a lot of issues in things that we're helping, you know, as a platform to combat. However, I think that's one of the might be the biggest. They have zero issue selling tickets, but then don't tell anybody what to do.
Yeah, it's the same thing, everyone, you know, watching this show, or if you're watching the replay, you know, it's you, people are wondering, like, how am I gonna, I want to see this speaker, right? Or I want to see this performer. How do I do it? And that also goes into the time frame, right? Dylan made a good point, the communication. You can pick really great softwares, or even if it was an in-person event, and you still have to like lead a time frame. One of the best events I went to, board of advisors, they had emails that went out every 2 days with full like infographics and instructions on, okay, you're going to join at this time. If you want to do networking, here it is. And it explained everything, and it made the experience so much better. And one of the key points is they did it in a timely order. Up, I think it was like 10 days before the event, and there was a couple emails. And you can't do that when you're just trying to get people to aware of the event. So.
Yeah, dude, phenomenal point. You can't update your current attendees if you're still trying to sell tickets because you didn't give yourself enough runway. You see where this all starts to go back to our original point of give yourself enough time to do things, and then you'll set yourself up better for success. Because I think the communication, there's different communication tools, the email, texting. You know, I've gone to events this year that they busted out ringless voicemail to me, and they were sending me ringless voicemails at lunchtime to go join the networking lounge. I was like, all right, this is impressive. Because at least they upped, because I was also busy. I got the voicemail. I was like, oh crap! Let me stop what I'm doing and go over there, because I haven't been able to attend the beginning portions. So, dude, I'm with you. You know, let's run through them real quick for just the 9, 10, or 11 or 12 folks that we have live, and then let's wrap this up. So the number one biggest mistake that flat out we see every single day is underestimating the process. Disrespecting the time it takes for you to plan, properly promote, and communicate with your potential attendees and then attendees. And then the overcomplication. So keeping it and understanding how to keep it simple and effective. That's the thing. You keep it simple and effective, and keep it simple. Stupid will make you a lot of money in this industry. I promise you that. And then just flat out, let's communicate better. You know, I think these event organizers.
And you got to think about. They're living their lives. They have, you know, just like everyone else, they have fires that they're putting on their lives. They're not thinking about your event all day long.
No.
You got to
absolutely not. Absolutely.
How to join, how to go where, the logistics of it. So
and that's in person too, people. Because, you know, especially you guys doing these big old conferences or any kind of conference at let's say your venue, they've never been there. They need to know what to do.
Yeah. The people who are pointing where to park and all the signs that say park here, and you're like, wow, I wonder why they have so many signs on like where to park and where to walk. It's the same way if you're adding a virtual component to your event.
Yeah, even more so.
Where to click, where to log in, you know, where to do this.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, just on a different vehicle.
So I'll wrap this up right after I say this, because I've said it for years and I always get funny looks about it, but it's 100% true. You have to genuinely treat people like they're stupid. I'm not saying all people are stupid. So that's an offline topic. But you have to treat them, when it comes to communicating about events, you have to treat them like they're stupid. You have to tell them, turn here. You know, when event flows and things like that, if we ever go on the show about, you have to go, you walk here, you have to tell them to turn. You have to tell them what you want them to do, because they don't know. They don't know what you want them to do. So you have to treat them. And we do that on platform at ViewStub. It's like, how can we make this a 6-year-old can do it? And you have to, and we have to, you know, make sure that you guys are aware of how to do those things. And we have to make sure you're understanding of where those buttons are and stuff. We don't just leave you to your own devices. We have tutorial videos and stuff. So, and same thing for your event. You need to have that support chat or the support email and things like that for better communication. So, man, I'm excited. This show was, you know, we went a couple minutes over. We thought
so much.
There was a lot in that.
So much stuff.
I think we're going to break this down even some micro content.
I'm writing notes, and, you know, for anyone that's watching or watching the replays, you know, share some notes and contact us on topics that you want to see. We have a really good list of, you know, show topics that we're going to go in. I would say, you know, 4 or 5, possibly 6 or 7. of what we talked about. We'll probably go into detail on just this one call in the next 10, 15 episodes. But yeah, drop a comment on what you would like to see. Yeah, we appreciate you guys' feedback.
Yeah. So we'll just go ahead and wrap it up. This is the official end of the first episode of Event Masters. So we got one in the books. We do this weekly. So for those of you, we will have, I'll go ahead and drop in all the handles for our social media. Go ahead and share that out, follow it, like it, subscribe it. All the different platforms this will be on for those of you who are watching this.
If you found value in it, share it with a friend.
Invite your friends. So also for those of you watching this live, like it will always be live in this group. This community is our community. This is what we want to get the information and content out first. So by all means, start inviting your friends into this, because we're going to be dumping a lot more value into this show. So with that being said, Patrick, let's wrap this up, and bon voyage to everybody that's watching this, and see you on the next episode.